It's not your virtual assistant's fault that your outreach is failing. And I'm about to expose the real reason why 89% of agency owners are not getting appointments through outreach, because it's not the virtual assistant. It's actually how they're handling and training them. Now, you've probably seen agency owners like this, or this, who are getting so much results through DM outreach and actually delegating it to a trustworthy virtual assistant. And to be honest, it's not because they found a great virtual assistant. It's because they trained them properly, and I'm about to share with you how they did that. And chances are, if you're watching this, you probably stumbled around one or two virtual assistants and are going around still trying to find a perfect fit for your business. The truth is, you're not finding bad virtual assistants who honestly don't like your business at all. And after talking to not only hundreds of agency owners, but also hundreds of virtual assistants, I realized that majority of agency owners in the space, improperly training them, not giving them SOPs, and ultimately not making them feel like a team member. So what's the outcome? You're setting them up for failure to begin with. And that's why you're wondering, why aren't your DM outreach, your emails succeeding? And the truth is, I used to blame my virtual assistants as well. I actually went through 3 to 4 before I hired someone who's still with me to this day and have been with me for 4 years. But the moment changed when I realized it was me who was the problem, not my virtual assistant. Once I actually took responsibility and made SOPs and actually brought them to becoming an A player, that's when my results over DMs exploded. When you give your virtual assistant proper training, SOPs, and great management, and ultimately make them feel like they're an actual team member, not just a number in your team, they will actually care and ultimately get you the results that you deserve and then some. And the reason I'm making this video is because I'm looking to help thousands of agency owners get more appointments, not just rely on one outreach platform like paid ads, for example, or word of mouth, and so that they can actually delegate this to a virtual assistant that they know they can trust every single day. So I'm about to reveal the VA framework that has helped me create hundreds of A players and actually place dozens and dozens of virtual assistants into agency owners' business for either cold calling or designer work or DMs like what I do. Here, let me actually prove it to you by showing you a testimonial by Mira. So it's not your virtual assistant's fault that the outreach is failing, and I'm about to share again the real reason why 89% of agency owners are not getting good KPIs through DM outreach or whatever they put their virtual assistant up to task. Sure, some virtual assistants have already experience doing DM setting or something that you want them to do versus others who have zero experience, but the truth is you can make anyone do the work for you. You just need to train them well. And that's the first thing. And the brutal truth is you are giving your virtual assistants absolutely zero training or SOPs whatsoever. And so by the end of this video, whenever you hire your next virtual assistant, you're going to understand how to make them an A player and ultimately get the appointments and the results that you've always been looking for. The VA failure cycle that a lot of agencies fall for, maybe like yourself, there's actually a big pattern that I see, and it usually comes down to 5 mistakes. But once you understand these mistakes, you can flip it and actually get the results that you want and then some. Mistake number 1 is the figure it out approach. Most agency owners go out and find virtual assistants, maybe 5 to 10, and then say, go figure it out. This is what I'm trying to achieve. Please try to do whatever it takes and I'll pay you even on commission. But I will be there for you. So if you have questions, just let me know. And the crazy part is the agency owner acts shocked when they don't get the results that they deserve. So here's what's really happening. You're expecting virtual assistants who don't know a single thing about your niche, who don't know a single thing about your product, nor your offer, and reverse engineer the process to land you qualified booked appointments. They're guessing at your standards and hoping that they are right. Now, to be transparent, we're entrepreneurs, right? We are open to being curious, but as employees, especially virtual assistants across in the Philippines, South America, South Africa even, these guys are afraid of asking questions, especially if they aren't well trained and ultimately cultured into your business. So at the end of the day, they're delivering on what they think you want when that's probably not the case. The second consequence to this is that it's hours spent fixing their mistakes, and now you are spending money on them, for the mistakes that you didn't train them about. Now we're looking at missed opportunities and poor execution, ultimately leaving you with constant stress and frustration that this endeavor didn't work out. But here's where I honestly get very frustrated with agency owners. It's that they start blaming the virtual assistants for not doing the job. Kind of see how that's crazy now? Instead of putting them out there and letting them figure it out for you, no, you provide them SOPs, literally downloading step by step how you've been able to actually achieve these results, or how you want them to try and achieve the results as if you were doing it yourself. You do it through Loom screen recordings. Literally make a GHL or a school programming course that actually shows them step by step visually how you would prospect, how you would message, how you would call a lead, showing them quality examples of what they're looking for, and ultimately how to answer certain questions in the DMs, for example, if they arise. But even the perfect SOP is just a foundation of it, but it's not going to make them an A player and sustain that long. So here's the second thing that's killing your performance for your virtual assistants to perform well. Mistake number 2 is the what I call sink or swim training method. Most agency owners with a virtual assistant expect, after giving them the SOPs, to go out there and finally actually perform super well from the get-go. It's like giving a soldier, a gun, but not giving them the strategy to actually win the battle, hence the war. It's like showing someone a YouTube video on how to swim. Great, now they have the actual idea, but then you throw them in the deep end, and what ends up happening is they unfortunately drown. Here's your login, here's your tools, here's how I've done it. Go out there and do the exact same thing as I did. Duplicate myself. You don't give them an idea of your ideal client avatar or who to go after. There's zero context about why you're even doing this. Why is this important? Why do we even look for these things? You're giving them the what, but you're not even giving them the how or the why. No practice sessions, no feedback means drowning. Ultimately, what this costs you is making expensive mistakes while learning about your prospects. They can't handle objections or questions correctly. And I hate to say it, but I've seen this happen a couple times over the years where people hire VA to do their own DMs. It sometimes damages their reputation because the VAs think they're doing something right when they say something, but ultimately ends up damaging your brand. And so the VA, after that happens, quits, and you have to go out and find someone new if you continue this. So what I've taught dozens of other agency owners, what I've done for hundreds of agencies or virtual assistants, is actually creating a comprehensive 30-day boot camp for your virtual assistants to ramp up in 1 month of being hired. You literally, in Slack, if you use Slack as a communication internally for your team in your agency, have a channel for practicing and questions for the DMs. We literally have one that says sales DMs, so that we can always reach out, or the virtual assistant can always reach out if they have questions on how to answer it. Once we answer it, then we log it into ClickUp, where we have all our SOPs and scripts, whether it be objections, whether it be positive replies, or even how to simply book people in. Whew. Now, the third mistake is actually even more damaging, and honestly, I don't think a lot of agency owners are doing this, but I have seen some people do it, and it's quite surprising, so I hope you don't. Mistake number 3 is use your own words communication disaster. Agency owners know that personalization is key in the DMs, or personalization is key when calling an interested lead. It's perfectly fine. But when you say use your own words to a virtual assistant, it can come off as you don't know who you are, or you don't know your own business. And specifically, your VAs could honestly mismatch and misalign with your brand and how you sound. Therefore, you get inconsistent quality of appointments and misled promises. And to be honest, there's no way to improve or even optimize or do this at scale, because it's hard to duplicate what one is saying since it's super personalized. That's why we create a specific detailed script for every single scenario. From the initial outreach message, to the response to the message, to the positive reply to the offer or pitch or your service, and of course booking them in, or even answering simple questions like, what company do you work for? Show me your work. What is your company's website? And also even escalation scripts whenever they need it, if ever they are bashed by a prospect who just simply doesn't know your agency quite yet. Not only does this give confidence to the prospect and obviously book a call with you, but it also gives confidence to your virtual assistant, because they know whatever happens, whatever scenario, whatever condition, they will have an answer, a script for it. Now, the fourth and fifth mistakes are honestly the biggest ones that make a virtual assistant just A-okay, decent, I'm a clock in, clock out, to an A player that is actually doing above and beyond work for you. Mistake number 4 is that you treat them as a contractor, as a normal virtual assistant. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves I've seen in the agency space, and I hope you're not doing this, is that you treat your virtual assistants as a number, as a contractor. You don't want to just treat them like a pawn or a disposable contractor. Therefore, you're going to get disposable work. But in practicality, when your VAs feel replaceable, they start to stress. They start to play safe. They start to ask less questions and honestly stop making ideas for even you in your performance to get better. And also there's no motivation, no emotional investment into actually making your business achieve its mission and scale. Ultimately leaving minimal effort and ultimately just clocking in, clocking out. If I get the results, great. If I don't, I'll go look for another agency to work with. And that's where company culture comes into play. And I hope you're not only doing this for virtual assistants too, but also your client success, your media buyers, and of course, anyone else who's part of the team getting results for clients or getting new clients. In Slack, what we like to do is share wins, whether it's a booked appointment, whether it's a closed deal, whether it's a retained client. You can also give them external motivation and provide bonuses and challenges for them to achieve. For example, a certain amount of appointments that they're supposed to hit this week or month. Now, specifically with virtual assistants, whether they're doing team outreach or calling leads for your clients as a call center, include them in team meetings and strategic discussions, not just to attend, but literally participate. You'll see they will actually care. They actually have ideas. Maybe they did have experience in a prior agency or in a prior company that they worked with, and they actually give you some resources. This literally happened in 2023 where I hired 3 virtual assistants who actually worked for a big bank company in the Philippines, and they gave me all of their spreadsheets to track payroll, to track performances, and ultimately track account healths and moods inside the team. So there's a psychological impact to this, and it's a positive one because the virtual assistants feel valued. They don't feel disposable anymore. They feel like they can actually stay in this company for years to come. And so with that said, they're actually going to protect that reputation of the brand that they feel involved in, the tribe, and now they're gonna go out and get you better results. But the 5th mistake, this one's a very critical one that you need to know. Mistake number 5, and I will vulnerably say I recently learned this lesson, is the set it, forget it management style. Most agency owners think that you can give a VA proper SOPs, proper training and onboarding once they're hired, get them involved into the company culture. But once that happens, they kind of get complacent and just say, hey, just keep doing what you're doing, just keep doing what you're doing, just keep doing what you're doing. And someone who literally handles dozens of virtual assistants internally, I literally have like 20 virtual assistants right now. It was like a garden that I stopped watering, and we all know how that can look ugly. VAs themselves get complacent. They develop bad habits. They start having lapses. There's less feedback loop. Performance honestly plateaus. And I got one email that kind of crushed me where the person said that they felt abandoned, and rightfully so. They started looking for other opportunities. And that's where I personally and have taught other agency owners who have virtual assistants to do some of the following. Number 1 is have weekly check-ins with them. Review their performances, their metrics, their KPIs. Identify challenges that they're having in their respective roles. And again, meet with them one-on-one. Talk to them about their wins. Talk to them about their improvements. One of my favorite things I learned from Michael Jordan and his coach Doug Collins before Phil Jackson and winning 6 championships, this is like 1980s, is that Michael Jordan knew that Doug Collins had his back because the number one thing that a coach can do to a player is by training them hard. And in similar fashion, you want to train your virtual assistants hard. No different than a media buyer, a client success manager, or a closer. So from there, you should have a VAA player, and ultimately you should be getting the results that you've deserved. But here's the most important insight that ties all these mistakes that I've learned and I'm giving to you in this video come together. Here's the big idea. Your VA's success is your responsibility. The fundamental difference between an agency that has a rockstar VA and one that always every month or every week has to find a new virtual assistant is who they're blaming. Yes, it's not going to be perfect at times, but that's where you have to take full ownership. Instead of saying, man, this VA sucks, I need to find a better one, think to yourself instead, how can I make this approach so good that anybody can do this? Instead of saying they should figure it out themselves, start saying to yourself, man, I need to provide better training and support as an owner. Instead of just thinking to yourself economically that VAs are just for cheap labor, think to yourself, and honestly, sensitively, VAs are people who got to put food on the table, who care about their work, and ultimately want to be treated as another team member in my business. At the end of the day, watch the VA retention skyrocket, literally staying with you for years. Quality will drastically increase in the appointments that they book for you or for your clients as a call center. Your reputation improves, the internal team and communication improves, and at the end of the day, the company culture improves. Now you need to shift the problem back to the methodology and ultimately having something that actually can get you appointments. So I'll drop a video right here or down below so you can see exactly our proven method that's helped hundreds of agency owners in different industries with different offers and different services getting multiple different appointments, therefore clients. So check it out so that you can plug it into your virtual assistant, delegate it, and ultimately start scaling your agency.